Good evening, everyone. It's Tanja from Tanja Kraus Horsemanship here, and you are joining me for Wednesday Night Live. Welcome to everyone as you all start logging on. And first thing I want to say is happy birthday to all the horses here in Australia. The 1st of August is the day that we celebrate the horse's birthday. And I want to acknowledge that and wish a happy birthday to all the horses that have helped me along my journey, continue to do so, and the ones that I haven't met yet. So I hope everyone took the time out of their day to celebrate their horses that are in their lives and wish them a happy birthday. I have seen some really cool pictures coming up on my news feed of horses in birthday hats and carrot treats and all that sort of stuff. So I hope that you all had a great day today. And thank you for joining me on Wednesday Night Live. Tonight we are covering the topic of reality check. So the way that I came up with this topic is over the last few weeks I have been teaching a fair few courses and developing some upcoming courses and things like that. And it really got me to thinking about where we are in the year. It's the 1st of August, obviously, so we're 30 days into the second half of 2018. And just acknowledging that or realizing that got me to thinking about where we are with our goal setting that we did in January. So I know a lot of you, as part of, I think I did a goal setting as part of a Monday Night Live, it would have been back then. And I know I also did a goal setting workshop that a lot of you joined me for. And it really got me to thinking that this is probably a great time of year for us to go over those goals, think about where we are, and probably give ourselves a little bit of a kick in the bum and have a little bit of a reality check in regards to where we're at right now, and either congratulate ourselves or give ourselves a kick up the bum for those of us that have gone out and done what we set out to do at the beginning of the year. And we'll get into that a little bit more later on. So the first thing I think we need to ask ourselves are, what goals did we set at the start of 2018 and how close are we to them? Those of you that did do the workshop, the online workshop of the goal setting, feel free to track down your goal setting book. Hopefully it's somewhere where you can grab it. So the first red flag would definitely be if you don't know where that goal setting book is. It's probably a fairly good indicator that you haven't been referring back to it, that you haven't really thought about your goals for this year, and now's a really good time to rediscover where that workbook is. And hopefully you've got your goals posted up on the wall somewhere. I know that was one of the things that we spoke about in regards to goal setting. So you know, the next question is to ask ourselves how close we are to the goals. So what were the goals that we set, and then how close are we to them? And maybe we need to figure out whether we need to restructure those goals or redefine what they are, or maybe change them because we're now 6 months or 7 months into the year. Something that I wanted to talk about was, in regards to this reality check, was 92%, statistically speaking, and I know that we all haven't been interviewed and all that sort of thing, but statistically speaking, 92% of all goals that are set fail. And that is an absolutely staggering number, and I'm sure that most of us have experienced that in the past, or are experiencing it now, or will experience it in a half an hour when we go and find our goal setting workbook and we start flicking through and we go, you know what, I haven't done any of this stuff that I set out to do at the beginning of the year. And I think we need to ask ourselves why. I don't think it's a lack of want, because obviously when we're sitting there and we're writing those goals down, that they are things that are important to us, they're things that we're passionate about. I think it's actually, the problem is more that there's an abundance of wish and there's an abundance of want, and we don't actually go any further than that. So something that I notice when I advertise courses or clinics or things like that, I see a lot of people comment and they say, I wish I could do that, or I'd love to do that someday, or I want to do that, or that'd be great to do that. And it's a really open-ended statement to make because it has no commitment. And it has no clarity to it. So it's a really what we call a throwaway line, right? oh, I wish I could do that. I'd love to do that someday. It's like saying, I'd love to go to Italy someday, and, you know, I've never gone to the travel agent and got a book on Italy. I've never researched in Italy on, you know, online. I've never looked up flights to Italy. I've never looked at pictures of Italy on Instagram, anything like that. It's a real throwaway, like, oh, I'd love to do that, because you hear someone else talking about being in Italy, and you sort of chuck that line away. And I think we all do that, and I think that's part of being human being, and it's part of human nature. But if you genuinely are reading something and you think to yourself, I really want to do that one day, or I would love to do that, or I think it would be beneficial to me, I think that what we need to do is make a decision that we do actually want to experience that, or we do want to do that course, or to have that trip, or buy that horse, or have that experience with our horse, or whatever it is. And then we have to know that we have to be willing to do what it takes in order to achieve that goal. So we find ourselves often being unwilling, or unconsciously unwilling to do what it takes to actually achieve what we need to achieve. So a really good example that I'm going to share with you guys tonight is courses, because they're something that I'm booking and advertising and things like that all the time. And I've had 3 courses over the last month. So I did a 5-day course in June, which was a 5-day Liberty Clinic. I did a 3-day course in July, which was an extreme trail clinic. And I've got the 10-day course coming up. Now, when I planned all of those courses, I had full books, full waiting lists. If everyone who said that they wanted to go to those courses had actually booked in, that I would have been running them 2 and 3 times over, because there were so many people actually talking about coming. And genuinely, I'm talking about beyond a throwaway statement. I'm talking about 2 of the courses were specifically planned at a round table with maybe 20 TKH people there who said, yes, I want you to do that clinic. And we all pulled out diaries and booked in the clinics, and everyone wrote them in their diary and things like that. And I know that work comes up and all that stuff happens, life happens. But what I am going to say is that life happens for everybody. And so if we genuinely want something, and I'm using the courses as an example because it's real examples that I can give you of people telling me in January and February this year, yes, put me down 100%, I'm coming to that course, and knowing what the dates are back in January, and now I'm getting, I'll go to the next one. And this isn't me having a rant about courses. The 2 courses that have already been, we got the numbers for them. And the 10-day course that's coming up, we've got the numbers for it. We've got a couple of places still available for those who are interested in it. But, we've got the bookings. This isn't about me saying, I'm not getting the bookings. This is about me saying that people, there's probably a waiting list or a pre-registration list for the 10-day clinic next year of about 25 people who have seen the advertisement for this year and said to me, I want to come to the next year clinic, I'm going to start saving. And I can guarantee you that at least 5 out of that large group of people said exactly the same thing to me last year. I could find the message if I wanted to go to that much trouble and show it to them and say, you said exactly the same thing last year. I'm going to save all my money. I'm going to make sure I can get the time off. I'm coming next year. And here we are 12 months later and no action's been taken. And as I said, this isn't about my courses, but what it's about is that we do this to ourselves constantly, year after year. And we say that we want to go on these trips, or we say we want to go to the courses, or we want to have experiences with our horses, or, I'm going to start getting lessons because I want this, or I'm going to go and start shopping for, a different gear because I want to try a new discipline, or whatever it is. And we never, ever achieve it. And it's something that's really frustrating to me because I'm so passionate about people getting the most out of their experience with their horses and getting the most out of their life with their horses, because it's so precious and it can be so short. And I just get frustrated when I see people not experiencing what they could be experiencing because they're not actually making the commitment and taking the action that they need to take in order to achieve those goals. I think that we get too wrapped up in what I see people doing, and I used to do it myself, so I'm not, I'm not pointing the finger here. A lot of you who watch my Monday night lives and come to the courses and Wednesday night lives now, I think a lot of you that see me know that I genuinely will share experiences of my own with you, and I will absolutely hold the mirror up to my own face, and I am able to talk this way because I know what it feels like, because I have been there and I've done it myself. So the biggest problem that I see in regards to people not taking action, or people not being able to do what they want to do, or people saying they're going to do something and then not following up on that, what I see the biggest problem is that we become our excuses, and we wear our excuses like clothes because they validate us in some way. And so what I mean by that, and I used to be like this as well when I used to work in a real estate company, and then I eventually bought it. When I was in real estate, I was really busy all the time. And so people would invite me to go places and I'd say, oh, I can't, I'm too busy. I can't, I'm too busy. I'm so busy. I'm this, I'm that. And then as I got a little bit older, and I like to say hopefully a little bit wiser, what I realized was I was wearing that busyness to validate me as a person, because it made me feel like I was important. And I think that we do that a lot with our excuses. Our excuses become just a part of us, and we'll put the excuses up without even attempting to see if we can make something happen. We'll just put the excuse up and say, oh no, I can't because I've got my kids, or oh no, I can't because I'm going to have to work, or oh, my boss needs me. We validate ourselves, or I'm a small business owner and I know what that's like. Obviously I'm a small business owner too, but even that, oh no, I'm a small business owner, I can't take that much time away from work. And what the message is that you can. At the beginning of this year, I'm a great example of it. At the beginning of this year, my family contacted me, and we were all talking, and it's my dad's birthday this week, and so we all decided that we would meet here on the Gold Coast, and we would celebrate Dad's birthday, and we would all be together. So that took Mum and Dad coming in from out west where they live. It took me taking 2 weeks away from work and coming up from Coffs Harbour. It's taken my brother coming in from Thailand. He's had to book flights and take time away from work and all that sort of stuff. But because we knew about it for 8 or 9 or 10 months, we all put it in our diary. We all, got to a month ago and said, okay, well, we need to book the flights. We need to book the accommodation. We need to make sure everything's done. And you just do it because it's expected of you. And so I think that what we tend to do is look at something, like a course or like something that we want to do with our horse, and we go, oh, I'm too busy, I can't do that. And we just kind of automatically put that excuse up without really thinking, well, hang on a minute, if I really want to do this, if I really want to make it happen, I can make it happen, which is exactly what I've done sitting here on the Gold Coast. I'm here for 2 weeks. I like to, I'm still busy. I've still got messages coming in. I could still be teaching courses. I could be doing all that stuff. My workload is piling up, and I'm getting messages every day on my email. This day and age with smartphones, I can see all the work piling up in my inbox. But because I've taken it, I've taken it. It would have been easy to sit at home and say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't go because I'm too busy and I've got all this stuff. The reality is that all the stuff is going to be there forever. It's going to be there in a week when you get home. It's going to be there in 2 weeks when I get home. This is just what happens. And so for us to be able to achieve the goals that we set mean that we must take action. So the fact is that, the old saying, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. And so if we're setting goals that are different from what we've been achieving in the past with our horses, it means we need to change something. And typically what we need to change is our commitment to the task. Typically we need to commit to getting up earlier. We need to commit to, going on that ride. We need to commit to riding 5 days a week with a buddy. We need to commit to going on the course. We need to commit to having riding lessons. Whatever it is, we must take the action to achieve it. And action usually means change. So we must be willing to become the person we need to be to achieve the goal. We can't expect to achieve the goal when we're the person that we are now, who's got the excuses and that can come up with every reason under the sun not to take action. The other thing that I wanted to point out is that it is ongoing. So you'll notice there I said we need to become the person that we need to be in order to achieve the goal. This person who we are, we can't achieve the goal doing what we've always done. Otherwise we would have already achieved it and we would be setting a different goal, if that makes sense. So now what we have to do is think about the goal and think, who do I need to be? Do I need to be a 5 a.m. riser? Do I need to be someone who, decides to work less hours? Do I need to work more hours? Do I need to, I don't know what the specifics are because it's all relative to your journey and what you're hoping to experience and achieve by the end of the year. What I see at this time of year is a lot of people that are maybe looking at their books, and those of you who look at your books tomorrow or tonight when you log off the live feed, and you look at those goals that you set at the beginning of the year, what a lot of you are going to want to do is give up and say that it's unachievable because I set that goal at the beginning of the year and look, I haven't achieved it, so what's the point? Which I really want to say, don't do that. We all make stumbling blocks for ourselves. We all delay our progress. We all have setbacks. So please don't give up, and do not make the classic mistake of putting it off until 2019 now and saying, you know what, in January 2019, I'm going to have all my ducks in a row, so I'm totally just going to roll these goals over till next year and basically give myself a pass to bludge for the next 5 months. I really, really encourage you to take action now. Take action tonight, take action tomorrow morning, and really have that commitment and reset those goals and look at what you want to achieve by the end of 2018. You might not be able to achieve what you set at the beginning of 2018 because you are 7 months down, but what you may be able to do is break that goal down so you'll have it achieved by July 2019. So, there's another saying that I used to have written on my wall when I was when I had it up on my office wall. And that was, if you start something today, you'll thank yourself in 12 months for starting it today. If you don't start it today, in 12 months, you'll look back on regret and think, why didn't I start that when I was thinking about it? So in terms of taking action, the other thing that I think we really need to consider when we're talking about taking action is understanding that action doesn't need to be something huge. I am very guilty. I'm one of these people, we laugh about it at home pretty often. For example, Phil and I will go riding on the beach, and we're riding down the beach on our horses, and I say, wow, this is amazing. It's so good for the horses. I love stretching them out on the beach. I love riding down the beach. It's great for us. It's great for the horses, etc., etc. And then I say, we should do this 3 days a week. And, now we have a giggle about it because Phil always says, why do you always just go, all the chips go into the center of the table, and all of a sudden you make a decision that you should be riding 3 days a week at the beach? You set yourself this idea that is completely unrealistic. There's probably no way that every single week I'm going to be able to get to the beach 3 times a week by the time, we hook the trailer on and go to the beach. It's quite a big effort for us. We don't live very close to the beach. And so it's a really big effort. So it's pretty unrealistic for me to think, well, I'll go 3 days a week. But what I could do is say, well, I'll go once a fortnight at least, or I'll go once a week at least, or whatever a good realistic goal is to set. And I think that a lot of us are like that. We want to go all in, and we think that taking action means, you know, if you normally get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, you think, right, that's it, I'm going to set my alarm for 4 o'clock. And then tomorrow morning when the alarm goes off at 4 o'clock, your brain just goes, no, mate, I'm not having any part of this. It's too big a leap to take. So instead of try and set your alarm for 3 hours earlier than you originally would have, maybe half an hour is going to be good enough to give you the time to you know, read a book or watch a DVD, or you know, go over some notes from previous lessons, or go, depending on if your horse is in the backyard, going and spending a little bit of time with your horse and doing some training, or maybe set your alarm only an hour earlier or something like that. So taking action doesn't need to be something huge, but it does need to be something. So the 4 tips that I've got in regards to our reality check, I'm hoping that this Wednesday night live is going to offer all of us, myself included, that little kick up the butt that we probably need at this time of year to say, hang in there, get that goal list out, there's still time, we've still got 5 months. You know, give yourself a little uppercut and say, oh, well, you know, you haven't done what you said you were going to do for the first 7 months of the year, but we've still got plenty of time to do something towards our goals. So tip number 1 is to reevaluate your goals and set realistic goals that can still be achieved by the end of the year. Step number 2 is write it down. So just to clarify on step number 1, say that you set a goal in January, you've done nothing towards it, and now you've only got 5 months. Maybe there's a sub goal that you can set, which is still towards that really big goal that you can achieve by July next year. So it's not about chucking that goal out, it's just about breaking it down into a more manageable piece that you can still achieve by the end of the year. Number 2, write it down, okay? So, you know, the statistics I was reading today, prepping for this live show, is that, you know, 85% of goals aren't written down. I know that's not true of you guys, because I know we did a goal setting show in January, and I know we did a workshop in January. So I know a lot of you have them written down, but some of you may have to pull those books out and blow a bit of the dust off them and put them somewhere where you're going to get access to them all the time. And, you know, I know this because I do it myself. You know, I understand, you know, I've got a certain amount of goals and things like that. I've got them on my phone as my screensaver, which is a really cool way of seeing something that you want to achieve all the time. But I've got goals written down, you know, depending on whether they're personal goals with the horses, or my personal goals for my self-development, or whether it's business goals and things like that. So I know they can be in really different areas, and it's time to pull them out, you know, give them a bit of a renovation, give them a bit of a lick of paint, as they say in the building industry, and let's see if we can get them back on track by the end of the year. So number 2, write it down. Number 3, break it down. Very small, manageable pieces is what we're looking for, because what you want to feel like every week is that you've done something towards that goal and you have taken more steps towards the goal, not away from the goal. You want to be, you know, building that bridge towards the goal, not digging the canyon out. So we've got to really break it down and make sure that we're being able to see positive action every single week, and it can be small little steps. Number 4, it's the obvious, but it's probably the most hardest, and that is commit and take action towards your goals. So if that means that after we finish this live, you go and find that goal setting book and you reevaluate your goals tonight, and then tomorrow morning you get up earlier or you get home later, or whatever it is that you need to do in order to achieve those goals, that means you've taken the first step tonight in writing them down. Maybe you didn't do the goal setting at the beginning of the year. If you didn't, welcome. It's time to do them now. Let's pull out a pen, pull out a piece of paper. What do you want to see happen before the end of the year? And it may not be anything that is skill based. It doesn't need to be skill based. It might be, I want to have enough confidence to ride my horse with my friends. I want to, have enough confidence to ride my horse by myself out on the trail or on the beach. I spoke to a lady today who, she said to me that she's been helping a few friends and she's interested in starting to teach. And she said, I've been talking about it for years. I've been thinking about it for years, and now I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to take action. And, she's coming to meet with me to get some ideas and things like that in a couple of weeks. So she's thrown down that gauntlet and she said, righto, it's time for me to take action. This is what I'm going to do. So no matter what your goal is, just write it down, break it down, and take that first step, and you will absolutely be elated when you start seeing the results of your commitment and start seeing the results, the fruits of your labor, so to speak. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's live show on Reality Check 2018. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Please go ahead and send in any topics that you'd like to see me cover on Wednesday Night Live. I know that a few of you do send in topics, and please don't think that I ignore them. They all do get listed in a list, and then I can work on the content for the actual show. So please, by all means, no matter how big or how small you think it is, send it through. I can probably do a show on it, an article on it, a training video on it, a thought from my walk on it, anything like that. Send it through and I can absolutely help get it addressed in some way. So again, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I hope everyone had a great horse's birthday today and you gave your horses an extra hug and kiss. And I will see you guys all probably very soon in the coming weeks. We've got the big 10-day course coming up in August. If you want more information on that one, please let me know. Otherwise, the articles are coming out, the YouTube channel. We're going to go ahead and have Wednesday Night Live again next Wednesday, and I will talk to you all soon. Good night.